Okay, so we're going to start with what is scheduled for today. I'm going to quickly share the link if all of you prefer to read it at your own pace, that is. Just allow me a minute. And this is the article. I'm also going to scroll down slowly. But yes, before we begin, I want you all to look at these two questions, and this is what we're going to be discussing post we read this particular article. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the article. And like always, if there's a word that all of you do not know the meaning of, and that's possibly being a hindrance to your understanding, please send the word in the chat box and I will state the meaning to ensure that all of you can also understand what the article talks about. And thereafter, we're going to hypothesize and talk about the same.
Masih dekat.
Hello.
अभी तारीख लिखना है उससे.
Everyone is reading. If you have a question, please write it in the chat box. And please mute yourselves, everyone. Okay, so since most of us have finished reading the article, I'm going to move back to the discussion. Number one, what is overconsumption of news? Also, if there are still words that you do not know the meaning of or cannot understand the usage, please feel free to ask. And before I start with the discussion, and that I don't forget, I'm going to explain what cold turkey is. Okay, has anyone understood what cold turkey means here? If I perhaps read the line out loud, I would dread having to take the next step, cold turkey, as I did to kick cigarettes years ago. Any idea, anyone?
An addiction.
Cold turkey means, ma'am, having they have a turkey for their dinner and it must be hot. And cold turkey is doing extremely opposite of that. Means not doing normal things or the way things go like that.
Okay, no. So it's a figurative usage of the word cold turkey. And I think, let me see what I've written. Yeah, I've written abrupt isolation and or cessation of a substance due to an addiction. For example, over here, the addiction that's, given for to talk about the example is cigarettes. So if somebody smokes a lot, being cold turkey with cigarettes mean that you completely isolate yourself, and cessation means end. And you do not, even if you're addicted to something, you completely isolate and end that activity with that particular substance in order to ensure that the addiction goes. So it means abruptly, suddenly, you decide to not use that substance anymore. Making sense? And okay, how the usage comes is because a cold turkey signifies a dead turkey. That means you're dead and you cannot do that action anymore. So that's how it comes in the language. I hope it's clear now.
Yes,
Anyone
ma'am.
have questions? Great. Okay, moving back. What does the term overconsumption of news mean? Anyone would like to talk about it?
May I?
Yes.
A person read news is above their capacity. That becomes overconsumption of news.
Okay, okay. A person read news. What did you
Above,
say? News is above their capacity, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. I understand the definition, Mayank. Number one, with a person, it's not read. A person reads. Whenever it is one person, right? In present tense, the verb will always carry an S. For example, Swaneet speaks. I'm speaking right now, right? So Swaneet speaks. I'm one person, right? So remember that. And news as a word cannot be made plural. It is news. Does not exist. Okay. So a person reads excessive news. I can understand that. Thank you, Mayank. Anyone else?
May I?
Yes, Arushi, please.
Ma'am, intake of news from every end, which is like not so relevant and it's taking a toll over your mental health.
Yes, thank you for adding that point, Arushi. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am. Overconsumption of news is like listening to too much of news, too many news, reading magazines and newspapers, and also scrolling social media sites to get to know what kind of know the happenings around, to know the latest news, and yes, ma'am.
Okay. Too much news or too many news?
Too many.
Too much.
Too many unrelated news, madam. This is not.
Okay, everyone in the chat box, too much news, too many news. What's the right word that you would use? Yeah, it cannot be many. Do we know why it cannot be many? Okay, would anyone like to? Yes. I'm sorry, I think somebody was trying to answer. Please continue.
Yeah, ma'am. I was just saying that because it's not a countable noun.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, I think most yeah, we've done what count nouns and non-count nouns are, right? And the differentiation between that helps us to decipher which word we need to use, if it is much or many. I hope it's clear. If for someone it's not clear, please let me know in the chat box. I do not mind explaining the same. Moving forward, okay, the disadvantages caused by overconsumption of news. Yes, I want you to state what's in the article, but I also want you to hypothesize, because it is something, especially due to the pandemic, it is something that is not that it's not happening, it's relevant, right? So maybe it has impacted you or somebody that you know, but I want you to think, hypothesize, try to structure it, and tell me all the disadvantages that you can think of. Like I said, not only from the article, but your abstractions as well, please. And whoever's ready, please let me know.
If we'll read too much news, which is overconsumption, might be some news are not relevant. Even if it is not relevant, we are reading these news which are unnecessarily disturb our mind, or we can say our thought may be changed. But if we'll be reading some relevant news, then it can impact our mind in a positive direction. So too much news which are unnecessary reading is always the disadvantages to us.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mahesh, quick question. In a conditional statement which starts with if, where do you put the subject?
If we can, it means just if comma, then we can, like this.
Okay, no comma. I think that is the reason when you're creating those sentences, because each time you said a conditional sentence, there was an error. So don't pause those. No. So in a conditional sentence, there's never a pause. There's never a comma after if. It cannot be, because for example, I say if it would rain, I would probably not go. So if the first clause and then a comma. The way you're pausing, it is making the listener, like when I listen to you, I couldn't understand your conditional statement. Do not add a pause there.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Mahesh, another thing, go back to the chat box. News is or are not relevant.
News is not relevant.
News is not relevant. Okay, everyone else, what do you think? Thank you, Mahesh. News is or are?
Ma'am, news is.
Great. So Mahesh, each time you said the word news, you said are, but not is. Careful. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mahesh.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Anyone else who would like to talk about the same?
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, excess news is two more disadvantage. That is one, it create fears in the mind of the people, and also create some negative thought which cause the something like we say the incident of Lakhimpur Khiri about the sexual harassment case. So in that the people think about the negative aspect of the incident, and it caused communal harmony as well. And the as part of the fear, during the pandemic, the death of journalist Rohit Sardana is create more fear in the mind of the citizen of India, and that caused lot of deaths due to corona. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Vipul. Quick question. Tell me the present tense construction quickly. Give me the syntax, subject, verb, XYZ, if you can.
Yes, ma'am. Subject and verb one, or to be, ma'am, like do, does, and verb one.
Okay. If there is a verb one which does not need an auxiliary verb, which is do, does, do you incorporate it to be, or any inflection of to be there? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So if you know that the answer is no, when you're speaking, it is create or it creates?
It creates, ma'am.
So careful, by ensure that you do not add to be prior to verb one in present tense. Only you can add to be when it is verb one plus ing, not only verb one where in.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
careful
right.
about that.
Okay.
It causes communal harmony or disharmony. What was the word that you used?
Yes, ma'am. I use harmony, but disharmony.
You meant disharmony, right?
Yeah, no, while speaking, I told harmony, but it's disharmony.
Yeah, okay, then that's great. Vipul, a word in the chat box. Can you try to pronounce it out quickly, please?
Yes, ma'am. Negative.
A is shwa, negative. No, negative.
Negative.
Negative. Positive, negative. Not negative.
Positive, negative. Okay, ma'am.
Great. Thank you, Vipul. Yes, next person, whoever's ready.
Ma'am, may I?
Can I
Please.
try?
If you can, 1 second, Arushi, I'm sorry. Just write your name down in the chat box. I'll come to you post Arushi. Arushi, when you're ready, please.
Yes, ma'am. The disadvantage caused due to overconsumption of news is it takes over away your mental health. Reading about mishappening creates an atmosphere of anxiety and worried. You're worried about the incident more. You're in a conscious circle of addiction or reading more about news and knowing the depth of it. In your subconscious mind, it is stored and it deteriorates the well-being of a person. Any shocking news can give you an impulse which is not right for your body, like the cardiac arrest is shifted to mid-age people nowadays due to the shocking impulsive news they get. That's it, ma'am.
Great, thank you. Arushi, good points. Now, something very quick. You were reading right now, right? You made some pointers, bullet points, I guess, and you were trying to read?
Yes, ma'am, I just made it right now.
Yes. So see, when you're reading, and how I know that you were reading is because at times when we read, we don't understand where to pause completely. Okay. The same 2 points this time. I mean, I'm going to come back to you towards the end. Okay. This time, the same points, I want you to try and punctuate it, wherever you've written it, right? Try to punctuate it and then read it again. Because one, you need to decrease your pace. You need to add your add pauses to your points.
All right, ma'am, I'll do it. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I want you to start working on your.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Marushi. Dipani, when you're ready, please. Dipani, can you hear me? Can the rest of you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Dipani, I guess you might have to alter your network. Perhaps rejoin, and I will come back to you. Hitesh, meanwhile, if you're ready, please.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, overthinking of the news has a very negative impact on the thinking of the person. Like it create a fear in the mind of the people who are consuming on the daily basis. As due to the advent of technologies, like there is a social media platform, there is a Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well. So there are the multiple platform over there on the internet. So there is a lot of news, flashing on this social media. So nowadays, every person have like connected to the social media account. So uh, so the overconsumption of this news, create fear in the mind of the people who are consuming the same. So without news, there is like nothing. So the best way is to the proper dose of the news is very important, like for everyone to get update on what is going in the society or in the world. So one have to be very cautious, like while consuming the news or while watching the stuff on the social media or on the television, satellite broadcasting. Yes.
Thank you, Hitesh. Okay, a couple of things. In which circumstances do we use there is, and in which circumstances do we use there are?
Ma'am, is is used with the singular noun, or are used where there are, there is a plural noun, or there is a multiple.
There are multiple nouns. Okay. So, Hitesh, since we know the differentiation that well, I would want you to try and incorporate the same. A lot of sentences you start off because also, it's very natural for most people to start off a sentence with there is. Because while you're starting a sentence, you're not thinking how many aspects would you want to include. And thereafter, we choose to include more aspects. So think about it before you start a sentence. If you think you're going to be adding more nouns, straight away start with there are. Okay? Because a lot of times where it should be there are, you've used there is. Also with a singular subject like one or everyone, would you use have or has?
With everyone, there is a has, ma'am.
Okay, and with one, like one has to or one have to?
One has to, ma'am.
Okay, keep all of these things in mind, Hitesh, because all the verb forms when you were speaking were, they were not right. Okay, so just be careful about all the verb forms and articles. You're adding the at places there should not be the. I think, Hitesh, there would be a file, I think a document on LMS pertaining to articles. Try to go through that. You still have a doubt and get back. You can get back to me. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
Ma'am, may I answer?
1 second. I will come back to you. Sorry. Hitesh, stop using, as much as you do as a filler. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes. Who was that? Was that Dipani?
Yes, ma'am. This is Anjali.
Please, I can hear you now. When you're ready, please start.
Yes, ma'am. According to me, the biggest disadvantage of over consumption of news might be something like if a person is overloading himself like with many kind of news and in a whole day, so he or she reduces his productivity of a whole day, and he's also consumed with many negative energies, and also trying to be negative the whole day. And as per my according to my view, if a person is filled with a negative energy and negative thoughts, so he also might spread those energy by if the news or particular news is about it's kind of a negative thing, or it's a kind of a rumor, so he might tell his friend or family or someone, so it might also spread the negativity to the surrounding people also. So this is kind of a negative energy, I mean negative disadvantage as a thing.
Thank you. Can I know your name, please? Dipani, right?
Yes, ma'am. Anjali.
Was that Anjali? Okay. Sorry, I thought that was Dipani. Okay, Anjali, a couple of things for you. What is the
Yes,
right
ma'am.
phrasal verb? Is it consumed with or consumed by?
Consumed by.
Careful, each time that you've used consumed with. You're consumed by a
Consumed with.
negative
Okay.
aspect. Okay.
Okay.
Which demonstrative would you use with energy? This or these or that or those?
Ma'am, no idea. These maybe.
Sorry?
These.
Yeah, that's what you use. It's incorrect. Can't use. You can use this or that. Can't use these and those.
This or that. Okay.
Okay.
Got it, ma'am.
Those are the only two demonstratives you can use with that word. Thank you, Anjali.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. I think Dipani, because you had already sent your name, if we can continue, if you can hear me. No, I think Dipani, I'm not able to hear you. If you are able to hear me still, I'm going to move forward. Srija and Darshi, post that. Srija, if you're ready, when you're ready, please.
Hello, ma'am.
Good evening, Srija, please.
The person concerned here is a journalist, so he's always surrounded by different kind of news. So according to him, good news is urgent, but big news is also urgent, but bad news is more urgent. So he was consuming 24/7 different types of news from various channels, and also channels are competing with each other to get more sensational news. So people also change channels to get which channel has more sensational news. So in this process, I think he's telling this process is this is an addiction to him like smoking. But anyway, smoking will kill you eventually. But the news in the proper dose is healthy. And according to him, a life with no news might not be worth living. So he's happy with overconsumption of news, I think.
What's your perspective? I'm still waiting for that.
I think we cannot, we are not passing a day without consuming any one kind of news. We are eager to get news only. Every second, I am like that only, ma'am.
Okay. Dipani.
I think I am also like this. I am over consuming news.
Okay. Just a couple of things here that I would like to talk about. See, you switched between any kind of news, any kinds of news.
Yeah,
right?
I think,
so which one is the right word?
It's what that came to mind. I said.
Okay, now if I have to ask you to choose any kind or any kinds, which one will you choose?
Any kind only.
Any kind.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Is
so
it?
When okay, when I say some kind of news versus any kind of news, that has one meaning. There are various kinds of news. Is that incorrect? Is what my question is. Do you think that the meaning changes?
No, according to
kind
the
or
situation we can use. According to the situation, we can use that words.
Exactly. So that is what I want to highlight, that it completely depends, because when you went from kinds to kind, it was correct in that sentence only because of the fact that what you had prior to that word. So kinds of news is not incorrect. Nevertheless, you understand that?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Remember when we were doing, I think we were looking at a document which is complex mistakes made by native Indian speakers. I'm not sure. Were you in the session when I was doing that document?
Yes.
Do you remember one of the errors that I had highlighted was I am like that only, adding the word only at the end of a sentence? Okay, never mind. So that is one of the errors that we as native speakers, a lot of students make. So avoid adding only at the end of that sentence. It is redundant. You don't need it there.
Okay.
Is that making sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Darshi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
If you're ready, can we start, please?
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, I think that there are like various disadvantages of overconsumption of news. One is that it negatively impacts the mental health and also creates confusions because every news is not real. They are exaggerated to a certain extent that the real news is partially shown to the people. And also, while the news anchors present the news, they say it in such a way that it creates anxiety and tension among the viewers who are watching it. So I think that overconsumption can negatively impact our health and also our thinking.
Right. Thank you, Darshi. Darshi, which is the right word? Confusion or confusions with an S? And this is for everyone. Which is the right word between
Confusions.
confusion and confusions?
Confusions.
Okay.
Ma'am, confusion.
Confusion, ma'am.
Yes, that's the right word, not confusions. You can only use the word confusions when you want to distinctively add that there are various at one point. If there's, in your sentence, the right word is confusion. Also, two words that I would want you to try and pronounce, Darshi. If you can find your name, I've sent both the words, post your name in the chat box.
Partially. Partially.
Okay, no, partially.
Partially.
I'm going to, wait. I've broken down the word. Try to read it the way I've broken it down now. It's partially.
Partially.
Yes.
Partially.
P-A, partially.
Partially.
Yes. And the next word as well, please.
Among.
The sound of O is among.
Among.
Among. Yes.
Among.
Distributed among the students, not among. There's no sound of O in that word. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Also, ma'am, can you please pronounce the word exaggerated? Is it like correct pronunciation?
Correct pronunciation, although, so pronounce, yes, but the word pronunciation has no noun in it. Pronunciation, and the word was exaggeration. Which was the word you wanted me to pronounce?
Exaggerated.
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 No, the G is not Z, it is J. G-E, for example, look at the word germ. G-E is J. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
So exaggerated, not Z. Try it again if you want.
Exaggerated.
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 Yes, exaggerated. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dashi. Ashi, if you're ready.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, today most of the news shared is bad and not the good one. So when people become addicted to news reading, that is, they overconsume the news, then it might lead to stress or even depression among them, especially when they try to read more of news from different sources and getting different insights from it. Although bad news is urgent, but reading it all the time may generate negative vibes in him and may create a negative atmosphere around him, making him worried and tensed all the time. That is it now.
Thank you, Ashi. Yes, words in the chat box. I mean, the content, yes, that was all right. No problem there. The points that you mentioned, but there are some words in the chat box, please.
Partially.
Yeah, that was for the previous person, Dashi. Yours are, sorry, I didn't write your name. Then and yeah. THEN/THAN. Could you tell me the difference in pronunciation?
Then and then.
Ashi, just be careful when you use these words, okay?
Okay.
And the next one, if you can pronounce that as well.
Atmosphere.
The O is O, atmosphere. Atmo, no, mo. Atmosphere.
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. Atmosphere.
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere, yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashi.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Mayank, if you're ready, and Sujita, post that, please.
Ma'am, I'm ready. Sujita.
1 second. I need to check with Mayank if he's ready, please. Mayank, can you hear me? Okay, Sujita, I think you can start.
Yes. Overconsumption is when a person keeps can you hear me, ma'am? Am I audible?
Yes, now yes. I lost you.
When a person keeps bombarding himself with the news updates, and the disadvantage is that, according to me, a person's psychology is that when he keeps going with the overconsumption of news, which is telecasted within ourselves for nowadays, will make him feel low and depressed. Since nowadays news are filled with theft, murder, death, accident, and pandemic cases.
Okay.
So this is the disadvantage.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sujita. Next time, try to see if you can give me some more content. Okay. Also, instead of using keeps on going, which is okay to use colloquially, can probably paraphrase the same sentence in a better manner. Just a suggestion. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Sujita. Okay. Post that. Has everyone finished reading? Ishika, I think that's you're the only one. No, sorry, Ankur and then Ishika. Also, meanwhile, I am sending Ankur when you're ready. I'm just going to start with you in a minute. Just allow me that. This is the link for the second article. The ones who've already, spoken, you can start reading that. And we're going to start reading this another 2 minutes. Post Ankur and Ishika, I guess. Ankur, when you're ready, please.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I would like to point out that overconsumption of news creates a more psychological impact on the person who is listening or the person who is reading the news. Example, I was also listening to this news broadcast uh, where they was trying to prove this point that the way we are using smartwatches today, it is affecting our lifestyle. It is turning out to be a bane rather than a boom because the way it monitors us, the way every person is seeing daily that what activity he is doing, it is affecting him in some way or the other. The same way, if we relate that the news, if we if we see that if we are monitoring the news on daily basis, like whatever news is coming out there in the market, we are monitoring that it starts affecting us. It is like that we need to have a filter where we need to choose what content we should consume because it will ultimately affect us. Now people are so much obsessed with these news articles and videos which they watch. It creates a mental anxiety in them. And I'm also noticing a change in the way the news are portrayed these days because in the golden times in our childhood we used to consume news by the Doordarshan or by the newspaper which we used to get. But nowadays, like with the evolution and and the new era of technology, we are able to get news instantly through our mobile apps. So having too much news in a way affects our personality also. So we need to have check on this and consume and also read positive news as well as because these are not up to us. There are so much news around us, and if we constantly watch all these things, then it will affect our personality and hamper us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ankur. Ankur, careful about is and are with news because I think you know that you have to use is. However, while speaking, you're using are various times, okay? The right expression is not have a check. The right expression is to keep a check. So each time you're using that. So yeah, as much as I know, I think Doordarshan is a channel, right? It's a Indian TV channel, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Government channel, yes.
so okay. I mean, the reason I'm asking is because it's a proper noun, because it's the name of a channel, right? Do you use an article before a proper noun?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Careful about that, okay? Because
Yeah,
I know
I'm
that
just
you know all of these things. I know I've done all of this with you. So yes, just keep that in mind. All of these trivial things, the uncle. Okay. A word
thank
for you
you.
in the chat box.
Okay. Evolution.
O is Shwa. Evolution.
Okay. Evolution.
Evolution. Okay?
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ankur. I think, Ishika, if you're ready, please.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. So, I think that the biggest disadvantages caused due to the overconsumption of news are the mental health issues. We may feel, that there is nothing good going on in the world, and we start thinking about that particular news which we have heard about 24/7, and which leads to depression and anxiety among the people. So we should take actions, like we should regulate timings to watch the news. Yeah, and that's it, according to me. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ishika. Ishika, quick question. You know what a superlative is, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would you generally use a plural noun with a superlative? Or would you try to use a singular noun with a superlative?
No, ma'am.
No, as in like...
Yeah, like...
No, I mean, my question is, what would you do you want me to paraphrase?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, for example, the word is best, okay, which is a superlative of good, right? Good, better, best. Best is a superlative, right? After best, would you use the noun car or cars? Best car or best cars?
Best car.
Right?
Yes.
You agree that it is the best car, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because the rule says that after superlative, it has to be a singular noun. Why? Because when you say good, better, best, best inherently means out of the many in quality of good, this is the best, right? That's what superlative means, right? So whenever you use a superlative, never put a plural noun after that. For example, biggest disadvantages or biggest disadvantage, which is the right word?
Advantage.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. Always remember, the only time you can use a plural noun with a superlative is if you change the construction. If you put a dummy subject, for example, if you add a there are many disadvantages, but some of the biggest ones are. Add a sum, you change the construction only then. But apart from that, it'll always be singular. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Madhu, would you want to speak? I've just received your name.
Yeah, good evening, madam. Yeah, overconsumption of news makes confusion, and it takes away in a distraction way, ma'am. And it makes tired in a quick time. If we
Can you repeat
consume,
the last line, please? I'm sorry. It makes the...
it makes tired in a quick time, ma'am. If we take over news, it makes us to tired in a quick time. And it create an negative impact if we consume over news while speaking with others, and it takes away from the point where exactly have to speak. It takes away to unnecessary content, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't let us focus. Is that what you mean, Madhu? Because it's a distraction. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much, Madhu. Okay, we're going to start reading this. No. Okay, we're just going to continue with the previous article, perhaps continue with this one in the next class. It's already 10. Okay, Urushi, when you're ready then.
Overconsumption of news will create stress and anxiety, sleep disorder, mood swings, only if the news is presented in a negative manner. It also depends on the style of presentation. This will give mental tension or futuristic approach, like what is going to happen in near future. Is this going to impact my my money, my health, job, career aspects? And one more disadvantage are opinions and decision making start affecting by this. We just can't take independent decisions. Our decision will always based on some prejudices or based upon what news is feeding us.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Urvashi, futuristic approach cannot be used, like the meaning of futuristic approach is something else. But I think what you wanted to say is that it will make us anxious about the near future, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So keep that in mind. One more disadvantage. Okay, I'm going to write this sentence. Just allow me a minute. Can you choose the right answer, please?
Ma'am, I don't understand. One more disadvantage is our opinion.
If you have to choose between is and are.
Okay, one more disadvantage is.
Okay, so keep that in mind. Urvashi, what you need to keep in mind is the reason that it is because you're using is with the subject. That is one more disadvantage. When you say opinions, opinions is the object in that sentence. Okay, and even though it is plural, your verb form has to agree with the subject. Making sense? So one more disadvantage is, even if whatever followed is going to be plural. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am, got it.
Keep that in mind. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Arushi, I would want you to try with those points again, if you're ready.
Yes, ma'am. Overconsumption of news takes a toll over the mental health being of a person. Constantly reading about mishappening creates an atmosphere of anxiety. You get stuck in a circle of addiction to find the depth of every news you read. Everything you go through is stored in your subconscious mind, which can result in panic attacks. Sometimes person go through the news which is not in their mental capacity and can result in getting a sudden impulse or a cardiac arrest.
Okay, one second. Okay, Arushi, a little work with intonation. I know I haven't introduced a lot of intonation exercises, but I'm just going to give you some feedback. Whenever you have a sentence which has a full stop towards the end, and then there is obviously a new sentence, right? Add more pause. If, for example, it is this and just these two sentences, okay, till here. As another year of certain mayhem begins, I hope my attempt at moderation renders the desired calming effect. Pause. Actually pause and not immediately start. I would dread having to take the next step. Okay? So
yes,
add more pauses with full stops. If I have to give you a rough idea about a pause, the differentiation with a comma and a full stop. A comma can be 1 to 2 seconds, where a full stop can be about 2 to 3 seconds.
Understood,
Okay?
ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
keep that differentiation in mind. I feel that you're getting better with language and content. I'm going to probably in the next, pronunciation session, add some more things about how we are supposed to read in a flow. That should help you. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. You're welcome, Arushi. One more thing. One does good or one do good? One does good things or one do good things? I think you know the answer. Perhaps when you were speaking, it was a slip of a tongue. One does or do, which would be the right answer?
One does.
Yes, yes. Careful about that. That's it. Thank you, Arushi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Anil, do you have a question with the word superlative? I mean, you've written the word superlative. What do you want me to, explain what that means? Okay, anyone, any questions so far in what we've seen? A yes or no would definitely help me, and I'd certainly appreciate a little less of ambiguity also.
No, ma'am.
Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, we're going to continue with reading the next two articles. Probably in a successive session, we will complete it. We do not have a session tomorrow. We have a session on Wednesday, and I will see all of you on Wednesday. Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for everyone who's responded that there aren't any confusions.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have a question? You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. Anyone, any other question?
No, ma'am.
No, it's the first session today for the new batch. I probably heard, I think that a lot of you have some questions pertaining to the LMS or the assignment. I think Zikishu is here in the session with us, and I'm definitely leaving for now, but he's going to take it forward, help all of you understand your questions pertaining to the assignment. Thank you so much, everyone.
Please make me the host, ma'am, before leaving.
Yes, Zikishu. I'm just trying to see how do I do. Can you guide me? Do you know how to do that?
Sorry. In security
Okay. Security.
or you can click on my icon on those three dots. I think there will be an option of making me the host.
No, it just says breakout rooms and live on YouTube.
If Swanit, you're leaving, then also Zikishu, by default, you will be made the host.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Good night.